I can't believe Snuffy had such a dark backstory, and it's definitely one of the most tragic backstories in Blue Lock. Let's read it. So Snuffy was a great player, and he eventually got onto a pro team, and that's where he met his best friend Mick Moon. And at first, they didn't like each other at all, but after some time, they saw each other's soccer skills, and they became best friends. And they became brothers, and their goal was to become the best soccer players in the world. And after some time, they got a lot better, and they became some of the best players in the world. But they weren't #1 yet, and then Mick tells Snuffy that if they can't become the kings of soccer, life is not worth living. And at the time, Snuffy thought that line was weird, but he kept on pushing. And after some more time passes, we find out that they have become complacent, and they have been dropped from the starting lineup because their performances have not been as good as last year's. And this panel shows that pretty clear. There's alcohol everywhere, and they've been skipping workouts, so of course they're going to be falling off. And Snuffy is recognizing his wrongs, and he's trying to get better, but Mick, he is being stubborn, and he doesn't think he's bad at all, and he doesn't think he needs to improve. And Snuffy tells Mick that he needs to wake up because we're not that good anymore, and we need to get better. We used to be world-class players, but we have fallen off, and now we have to find a new drive for soccer. And Snuffy says it's time to grow up, but then Mick does not like that. And because he doesn't like that, he kicks Snuffy out, and that basically ends their friendship. And Mick says in every era, the person who ultimately changes the world is some stupid brat with a nonsensical dream. And whether we like it or not, he's not that wrong. Snuffy left, but after some years pass, he comes back to check up on Mick. But when he comes up and checks on him, Snuffy finds Mick on the ground dead. After those years passed, Mick could not become the world's best player, and that got to him mentally, and he sadly... And what makes it even worse is that his best friend had to walk in and find him like that. And then we get the sad panel of Snuffy holding him, and this is just so tragic. And I bet Snuffy feels so guilty about this, abandoning their goal and leaving it behind. That sucks. And this is heavily affecting Snuffy, and we see this in present day. Because Snuffy didn't like Mick's egoistic ideals, he becomes a man who cares more about the team than individually becoming the best. And even though Mick is his best friend, he still holds some resentment towards him for that. And he's trying to guide every single player he meets to not go down the same path that Mick did. And every Blue Lock player is agreeing to teamwork except for the king himself, Barrow. And if you didn't notice, Mick and Barrow are very similar, especially with their ideals. And Snuffy recognizes that, and he has a new challenge of trying to lead Barrow away from his egoistic ideals. And it's all because he doesn't want Barrow to end up like Mick. But that was Snuffy's backstory, guys, and that was sad as hell. That was one of the darkest backstories in Blue Lock, and it really makes me understand who Snuffy is now. It was very sad, guys, but let me know what you think of Snuffy's backstory.